Hello, thank you for joining me here on my channel. I really didn't want to shoot this video. I was procrastinating because, I don't want to be negative or sad or vulnerable on the internet for everyone to see, but I was really feeling called to share this because I don't want to give off the impression that I'm always happy and that I live this perfect life. Life is hard and life sucks sometimes. It really does suck sometimes because, we do not live in paradise. We live in paradise lost. Our world is broken and it's hard. It's really hard sometimes. So the quick answer as to why I haven't been posting on YouTube is because I got really sad. That's the short answer. And I want to explain, the details of what happened, but I have to protect the privacy of the people in my life. So I can't explain exactly what happened, but I can give sort of an analogy, a similar example. But basically what happened was two people that I have spent a lot of time with over the years made some accusations against me and someone else very close to me. And it was just hurtful and just a big misunderstanding. And, words were said that shouldn't have been said, words that I would never say to anyone, even to, a troll on YouTube. I would not use those words, but those words were said and they were just not kind words. So here's an analogy of what happened. Okay, say there are two women, we'll call them Angela and Jenna, because I love The Office Ladies, that podcast. I'm not even into podcasts at all, but I love The Office, the show. Anyway, so that's a little plug. If you want a light fun podcast, and you like the show The Office, you might like the podcast, The Office Ladies. Anyway, so say Angela is pregnant and Jenna has been experiencing infertility for many years, and Angela has a baby shower, and Jenna, lets Angela know that she won't be at the baby shower, but she wishes her well. And instead of going to the baby shower, Jenna goes to church and maybe goes to spend time with another friend who's also experiencing infertility. Angela's feelings are hurt that Jenna was not there for the baby shower, and Angela accuses Jenna of being a jerk. Jenna then becomes sad because of the accusation, but really because of the infertility, because the accusation compounds the infertility, that sadness that's already there. Because, nobody likes an accusation. Instead of an accusation, you can work through your feelings. Why are you feeling angry or sad? And you can talk to the person and say, hey, I want to talk to you about this. I was feeling a certain way about it and just wanted to hear your side of the story. And then, if you listen to the other side of the story, in this case, for example, Jenna would explain, hey, I've been suffering through years of infertility and I really needed to take care of myself. And instead of going to your baby shower, I needed to go to church and spend time with my friend who is also struggling with infertility. Anyway, that example did not happen to me. I actually love baby showers. I've thrown many baby showers. I love, getting people together and having cake and all of that and celebrating, someone's pregnancy. So that did not happen to me at all, but that is just a situation that I thought of to help explain what happened to me. The accusation was not good and the words that were said were not kind, but, that made me sad, but it really compounded the suffering that I already have of infertility. It compounded the sadness that I already have, because, you know, in the example that I shared, if Jenna were not suffering with infertility, she would have gone to Angela's baby shower and there would have been no problem whatsoever. So you see, it compounds the suffering, because, you know, in my case, I thought, wow, if I weren't suffering through this infertility, there wouldn't have been this misunderstanding, and this whole debacle would have never happened. And it just made me so sad. But I do have two positive takeaways from this low point in my life. The first one being, it really helped me to more fully understand acts of reparation. You know, I made a video about acts of reparation like a year ago. I understand the theology behind it, and I know I need to do more acts of reparation for God. But in this situation, it helped me to understand it more fully, because in this situation with this person apologized, and, you know, I accept their apology and I want to move on, but the damage to the relationship is still there, and it's just not going to magically go back to how it was. You know, it takes time and probably, you know, good deeds both ways for the relationship to heal and repair. So that reminds me of my own relationship with God. Even though, you know, now I'm a really strong Catholic, I was a cafeteria Catholic back in my younger days when I did not really understand Jesus and his church. And I hurt God. I hurt God by my sin. And, you know, God forgives me. I know I'm forgiven, but my relationship with God is not perfect because of the sin that I've done. So I need to do good deeds, good acts of reparation to repair my relationship with God. And I've understood this theology, but, you know, after this experience, I just thought, oh my goodness, wow, I really need to pray some chaplets and go to adoration more and really repair my relationship with God, because I damaged it via sin years ago when I was a cafeteria Catholic. My second takeaway is very simple, but needs to be said. God loves me and loves you so much. Look out for his love and his guidance through these times of suffering. I felt God loving me through this low point in my life so much. And I especially felt God loving me through people, through 4 women in particular, actually. So I adore all the people in my life. I don't want to leave anyone out. Right when this low point was starting and when I was coming out of the low point, you know, I got to see a girlfriend from college who I adore. I got to see Atlanta for the first time. I met Jess Chambers from Hey Jess Chambers. She is so real and genuine. How she is on YouTube is exactly how she is in real life, and it was just such a joy to meet her. I got to visit with one of my friends who was a musician at my wedding. I was so spoiled at my wedding. I had the most gorgeous music. Anytime I see any of the musicians who were at my wedding, I just adore them. I had Bibel's Ave Maria. I had Amner's Come Let's Rejoice. I had Rudder's The Lord Bless You and Keep You. I processed down the aisle to gorgeous voices singing Christus Vincit, Christus Regnat, Christus Imperat. I could go on and on. Also, a lot of the women in my current city, I adore them, and, you know, I got to see them through all of this. But there were 4 women that I really felt God loving me via these women, because during my lowest point, when I was so sad, I found out that my good friend who had been living in Australia moved back to the United States. And I found out that she had moved back like on the day that I was feeling super sad. And I was just like, oh my gosh, how am I finding out about this today of all days? And it just made me so happy. And, you know, she's not Catholic, but she's a very peaceful person and she's introverted. I actually lived with her for a whole summer when my husband and I were working in different cities and we would meet each other on the weekends. I actually lived with her, and it was wonderful. You know, since we're both introverted, we might talk for a little bit, a half an hour here or there, and we would go do our own thing. And, you know, no one was offended, and it just worked perfectly. Anyway, I just felt so loved, you know, messaging back and forth with her, you know, can't wait to see you. And she's Hispanic too, so I can, you know, comfortably say, I love you to her, because in Spanish, they have 2 words for love, you know, love for your spouse, that romantic love, you know, that word is only for your spouse. And then they have another word for friends and colleagues and everyone else in your life. So I love to say I love you to my friends in Spanish, te quiero, because, you know, I don't know, I'm just more comfortable. And I wish English had another word for love. Anyway, so she was the first woman. And then that next day, I got to see my dear friend who I adore, who I've known since I was 18. She lives so far from me, like so many states away, but she had to be in my state for work, and I was able to see her and talk with her, and she just understands me. I mean, we're in different stages of life. She has children, but when I talk to her, she just understands me. And that really is one of the great joys of this life, is to be understood. And she just understands my faith and my family life and just everything. And it was just so good to see her. Then the next day, another dear friend came to visit me, and she stayed with me. And this friend, she actually works in the aviation industry, and she's the reason why I can travel a lot. She has given me a great gift. I wish I could talk about it more, but it is a sensitive topic. You know, like I have some in-laws who are also able to give this type of gift to their children, but only to 2 of their children, and they have 5 children. So you can see why it's a sensitive topic. Anyway, this very dear friend of mine who has given me this great gift, she visited me, and it was so great to talk with her about super deep things. You know, I talked to her about my upcoming trip to Mexico City to see the Tilma of Our Lady of Guadalupe, and it was just such a joy to see her and to thank her. You know, I'm eternally grateful for this gift that she's given me, that I'm able to travel. I was able to travel before because my husband traveled a lot for work, and he could book my flight with points because he was accumulating so many points with his work travel that his work paid for. So that is how I was able to travel before, and now I'm able to travel because of her and this gift. It's just amazing. Anyway, so she was the 3rd woman that I really felt God loving me through. And the 4th woman that I felt God loving me through is another dear friend of mine who I've known since I was 18, and we actually went to Mexico City together. And it was such an amazing trip. Just going to see the miraculous Tilma of Our Lady of Guadalupe was amazing. I made a video about it, but that trip was so special to me also because I was able to travel with her, because she and I are actually both struggling with fertility issues. And so to be able to go with her on this very special pilgrimage to see Our Lady of Guadalupe, who is, you know, pictured pregnant on the Tilma, was just amazing. And just how it worked out, like, I couldn't even believe that I got on her flight, because her flight was actually full to Mexico, but I got on her flight and it was just like amazing. I don't know how I got on her flight. And everything just worked out perfectly in Mexico. You know, our Ubers and our hotel, like everything was perfect. Getting home was great. It was just amazing. And I really felt God loving me through her and through that trip. Anyway, I was and am so grateful to God for showing me how much He loves me through this really sad time in my life. So I encourage you, you know, when you are going through something tough, look out for God. Look out for how He is loving you, because God loves you so much, more than we can even imagine. So I was just super vulnerable with you, but I want to share with you that, you do not have to worry about me. I am doing great. I am still, not posting as much on YouTube because I have a lot of good things coming up that, I just need to focus on. I have some medical things coming up that I'm not really ready to share about. I'm moving, so I'm going through a transition period. I'm traveling a lot for the holidays, so I don't know, what my posting schedule will be the next couple of months, but, I'm totally fine. I actually talked to 2 counselors after I got really sad, because I just wanted to ensure that I was fine. I never want to be that type of person who says, I'm fine, and it's clear to everyone around them that they are not fine. So I talked to 2 counselors. I also wanted to check in with a couple of counselors because I've been discerning if God is calling me to start some sort of infertility support group in the next city that I live in. I was thinking of just doing a book club with this book, Facing Infertility. And so I wanted to check in with some counselors to see if they could give me any tips. I'm not going to go and get a degree. I actually thought of that at one point, but realized that's not for me. But, I wanted to just absorb any wisdom that they could give me if I feel called to do that. One counselor, she made a joke because any patient that comes in, they need to mark on a scale of, 1 to 10 on how they're feeling about their overall well-being, their social life, all these things. And I marked, pretty high. And she was like, oh, I don't know why you're here. I hope I can help you because, you seem to be doing great. But I did learn something from her. I mean, I've known this, you see this all the time. If someone's struggling, with some medical condition, symptom, or disease, you do not identify the person with the disease. You see that on slogans all the time. It's like, I am more than eczema. You don't define yourself with your disease. And she reminded me of that words are important, and I should never say I'm infertile, because I am a person loved and adored by God. However, I am struggling with fertility issues right now. But I do not need to identify myself with infertility. I am more than infertility. And I've known that, but talking through it was good so that, if I do start some sort of support group in the next city that I live in, I can share that with anyone who would come to my support group. The second counselor that I saw, we actually, talked about everything, my whole story, every feeling that I've ever had about infertility. We got pretty deep because that really is her passion, is maternal mental health, whether it be postpartum, infertility, child loss. And, that's so beautiful. Like, I love talking to her. I loved her passion. But once we talked about my story, we brainstormed about, an infertility support group and how we could, serve other women struggling with infertility. And I got some tips from her. I asked her about different situations, like if someone came to my support group and, was feeling this way, this is something I might say. And she gave me, good feedback. And she also recommended this book that I've already read. We also talked about the possibility of me starting an infertility support group and then becoming pregnant. And, I was worried about that, because I would not want to host an infertility support group while being pregnant. I just don't think that would be appropriate, but you know, I am discerning whether God wants me to do this or not in the next city that I live in. So we talked about that and how I would handle that. Anyway, I am doing great now. To be honest with you, I didn't really want to be this vulnerable and share how sad I was. You know, I wanted to just put up a happy video, you know, about Saint Cecilia and musicians or something like that. But I did feel called to be vulnerable and share this with you. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for tuning into my channel. I will post when I can these next couple of months, and I'm sure after the holidays I will get into a nice routine again. And check out all of my videos. I've been posting for over a year. If you're new to my channel, definitely check out my Catholicism playlist. I love Jesus and his church, so I have created a lot of content about Jesus and his church. So I hope you check those out. I hope you have a beautiful day. God bless you. Bye.